2025's movie scene has been an absolute graveyard. It's like every major studio got together and said, hey, how do we waste hundreds of millions of dollars in the dumbest ways possible? Disney flopped. Pixar flopped. Marvel tried crawling back with another team-up movie, flopped. Even legendary names like Wes Anderson and Bong Joon-ho got dragged down. And when your biggest box office wins are Minecraft and Lilo and Stitch, yeah, you know something's broken. So in this video, we're breaking down the biggest box office disasters of 2025, why they failed, who's to blame, and what it means for the future of movies. Because trust me, Hollywood is in serious denial. Once upon a time, Pixar could drop a trailer with a lamp bouncing on a ball and make $1 billion. But Elio, this was the moment the magic finally ran out. This wasn't some pandemic casualty or a Disney Plus throwaway. This was supposed to be a full-blown theatrical comeback, and it tanked. The problem? Everything. The idea, some awkward kid gets abducted by aliens and has to represent Earth, sounds like it was generated by AI after watching Home and Lightyear. It was the kind of premise that should have been quirky and fun, but instead it felt lifeless, like Pixar had run out of imagination and decided, meh, space and feelings, that's enough. And don't blame marketing. Disney did promote it. They spent nearly the same amount hyping Elio as they did on the Lilo and Stitch live-action remake. The difference is, one had something people actually cared about. The other was Elio. Audiences didn't connect. Kids weren't excited, adults weren't interested. And hardcore Pixar fans, even they started asking, wait, why did they make this again? Elio bombed hard, and honestly, it deserved to. Now this one? This wasn't a slow bleed, it was a straight-up cliff dive. Snow White wasn't just a flop, it was a case study in how to burn $270 million for absolutely no reason. Forget the controversies. Forget the online drama about Rachel Zegler or the weird CGI dwarf army. The truth is way simpler. Nobody wanted this movie. The original Snow White might be a historic piece of animation, but let's be real. It's not the one kids today are begging to see again. Aladdin? Sure. The Lion King? Definitely. But Snow White? That's the movie your grandma saw once in a theater with a war bond ticket. Disney threw everything at this remake. A-list crew, high-end CGI, bloated budget, executive input out the ears. And in the end, it was exactly what you'd expect from a movie made by committee. Soulless, expensive, and completely unmemorable. And here's the thing, no amount of TikTok marketing, press tours, or controversy farming was going to save this. They spent Marvel-level money on a remake that barely had nostalgic pull, and somehow thought people would line up for it. Nope, the audience said pass. The box office tanked, and Disney walked away with another painful reminder. You can't force relevance. So here's the pitch. A John Wick spin-off starring Ana de Armas, set in that same gritty, assassin-filled world, with the same neon noir visuals and brutal choreography. Sounds like a hit, right? Yeah. No. From day one, Ballerina had a giant Keanu-shaped hole in it. Fans weren't subtle. They didn't want Wick adjacent. They wanted Wick himself. One fan said it best. No Keanu, no ticket. And they weren't bluffing. The movie opened okay, but then completely nosedived. 65% drop in week 2. For a franchise entry, that's not just bad, it's terminal. It ended up making less than the original John Wick, which cost half as much and didn't even have a fan base to begin with. And here's the real kicker. Ballerina had everything going for it on paper. Big studio backing, built-in universe, a solid lead in Ana de Armas. But none of it mattered, because the second you take out the guy who built the entire franchise, people check out. Now Lionsgate's bleeding hard. Remember, they had 7 flops in a row before this, and in 2025, they literally split off their movie division, basically waving the white flag and begging for a buyout. There are even rumors that Legendary Pictures, the studio behind Minecraft and Dune, is circling them. At this rate, Ballerina might be remembered less as a movie and more as the last nail in Lionsgate's coffin. Remember when Megan hit theaters back in 2022 and everyone lost their minds over a TikTok dancing murder doll? Yeah, that first movie was a lightning in a bottle hit. Fresh, weird, fun, and profitable. So naturally, Blumhouse did what every studio does after success. Rush out a sequel without a plan. Megan 2 was supposed to be bigger, bolder, crazier. But instead, it ended up being a sequel that nobody asked for and even fewer people watched. Opening weekend was projected to hit 30 million. It didn't even hit 18 million, and it dropped off a cliff right after. So what went wrong? Jason Blum himself actually admitted it. We thought Megan was like Superman. Turns out, she's not. They overestimated how much people actually cared. They tried to switch the genre, redesign the doll, give her a redemption arc. Basically, they lost what made the original fun and creepy and replaced it with overthought nonsense. Instead of killer AI gone rogue, we got trauma, lore building, and worst of all, Megan the misunderstood anti-hero. Like, really? Audiences didn't buy it, critics dragged it, and the film limped to just $37 million worldwide, nowhere near what it needed to break even. The lesson here? You can't manufacture cult status. You can't shortcut your way to a franchise. Megan was a moment, and when you try to turn a moment into a money printer without the spark that made it special, well, you get Megan 2. This one's not just a flop. It's a flaming dumpster fire in musical form. Someone, somehow, thought it was a great idea to take Romeo and Juliet, strip out all of Shakespeare's language, and replace it with 15 original pop songs, all written specifically for the film. No famous tracks, no modern hits, just a full album of bland, cringe-inducing ballads that all sound like they were cooked up in an AI karaoke booth. It had Jason Isaacs, Rebel Wilson, Rupert Graves, and even shot on location in actual Verona, Italy. So it looked decent until someone opened their mouth to sing. Variety called it a boring, amateurish attempt at being the next La La Land. Except it had none of the charm, talent, or soul. They spent between $15 to $20 million on this thing, gave it a wide release, over 1,000 theaters, and it barely scraped together $450,000. That's not a flop. That's a public execution. This wasn't one bad decision. It was every bad decision, wrapped in a glittery mess of misplaced confidence. No audience wanted it. No critics supported it. And honestly, it never should have made it past the pitch meeting. Romeo and Juliet the musical might go down as one of the worst bombs of the decade, if not the century. A perfect example of studios greenlighting nonsense that nobody asked for, hoping to catch lightning in a bottle with zero idea what they're actually making. Let's be honest, 2025 didn't just have flops, it had disasters, catastrophes, the kind of failures that make studios rethink their entire existence. We had Elio, where Pixar forgot what original means. Snow White, a $270 million movie no one wanted. Ballerina, a John Wick spin-off without the one guy anyone cares about. Megan 2, where overconfidence killed the killer doll. And Romeo and Juliet, the musical, an all-time bomb so bizarre it feels like a tax write-off in disguise. But the flops didn't stop there. Here's a lightning round of everything else that face-planted hard. Marvel's Thunderbolts tried to revive the MCU's mojo and got steamrolled instead. Mickey 17, despite Bong Joon-ho and Robert Pattinson, couldn't justify a bloated $100+ million budget on weird sci-fi. Paul W.S. Anderson's In the Lost Lands tried selling digital actors and fantasy lore. Nobody bought. The Weeknd's Hurry Up Tomorrow was ego with a camera. Critics hated it. Fans ghosted it. Daisy Ridley's Cleaner was Star Wars free and interest free. Borderline, a horror flick with Samara Weaving, made less money than a YouTuber's merch drop. Valiant One, a fake true story military thriller, bored everyone into skipping it. And Mobland, the De Niro double role mob movie, it proved that the gangster genre might finally be out of lives. And you know what ties it all together? Studios thinking names, brands, or formulas are enough. But 2025 proved that audiences are done with good enough. They want purpose, creativity, effort. Hollywood's biggest mistake this year wasn't spending too much. It was believing that people would show up no matter what. Spoiler alert, they didn't. So what's next? If the industry doesn't stop treating moviegoers like they're on autopilot, 2026 might look even worse.